How's it going, kids? My name is Brainsmasher, I swear. It's on my license. Yeah, tragedy has befallen Brainsmasher Studios. Not a big, huge deal, but you may notice the angle. The camera is a little different. We've had some flooding here in my area and in my home of recent, and this room right here almost took on, well, we took on some water. It wasn't that bad. I was able to get my records up off the floor before much damage was done. It wasn't like it wasn't a shitload of water, honestly. It was about maybe half an inch or so. But whatever, it's whatever. This place is a fucking wreck, though. I had to tear this entire room apart, get everything up off the floor. Had to run out and buy a dehumidifier, and it's like an industrial fan to be able to deal with it. So it's been a fucking hell of a week lately, and yeah, I wanted to cobble together a video of whatever, and just to stay in touch, you know. We do this on the regular, so I haven't gotten a lot of stuff in lately. I've been kind of on the DL, I guess, with buying a lot of stuff. So I kind of grabbed a pile of stuff that I've been jamming in the car lately that's been blowing my mind or whatever. So collection update, what's spinning, just whatever. Talk about metal, you know, the fellowship of the devil, if you will. So what is spinning right now? I had to grab the garage CD player to bring back in here because, God, this place is going to take a lot of work. What we're listening to is Germany's Sapthogua. So this is the band name is a Lovecraft monster or demon or whatever. So I'm not too well versed in Lovecraft lore and whatnot, but I think he kind of say that like most of his demonic words are like unpronounceable or whatnot. Either way, first of all, one of the coolest logos I think I've ever seen. There you have it. This album is called Hosanna Bizarre, and Osmos Productions released this in '96. I owned this back in probably '99 or so. I saw in a catalog where they had said that this sounded like a black metal brutal truth, and I was intrigued enough to hunt it down, and for some reason I wound up getting rid of it, or I don't know, I just kind of forgot about it. Until recently I was like, you know what, I want to own that again. So I finally found a copy for on the cheap, and it's fucking killer. I've been really liking it. Nobody's gonna give a shit about this. This is just so, I feel like this is just so me, I guess, go back into the late 90s and this fucking niche, stupid German black metal kind of shit. But it's fucking fun. It's got kind of like this, I guess you could generalize it and say it's like leather pants black metal or Sado kind of stuff. It does have that kind of, I guess, like sexual sort of tinge to it, like that master-slave kind of deal. Not just the artwork on it. I mean, there really is this vibe of like starvation and control and squelching kind of asphyxiation kind of shit going on. You could maybe stylistically compare them to kind of Marduk, I guess, but their riffs are very simplistic. But it's really, really fun stuff. I like the vocals quite a bit, and the use of synthesizers on here is kind of fun. So, Sapthogua Hosanna Bizarre. They did a follow-up to this record on Osmos called Trans Cunt Whip, which was pretty good, but it's another one of those records that Peter Tatgren produced, and I could never really get into it for the fact that 18 albums that came out within the same span of like 2 years all sounded the same back then. So whatever. We'll move on. So I was in Chicago last weekend for a jewelry thing with my girlfriend. And I had some free time, and I wound up going around to all 3 record stores. Reckless Records is the one that I always go to in Chicago. I usually wind up going to like 1 Reckless Records and coming out there with a stack of like 12, 15, 18 releases or so. But something has changed, I guess, where they've pared down their used CD section. One location has moved to another location. At another location, like the downtown one, the one that's like, I don't know, the streets or the areas or whatever, but there's one where like you have to pay $15 an hour parking just to fucking get to the store, and it's a shithole. It's a total fucking shithole. But anyways, I didn't wind up getting that much stuff in Chicago, honestly. And I don't know what to do if I'm back in Chicago again. I might hit up one of the other Reckless locations, but honestly, I went to 3 different fucking stores, and I only bought probably 8 CDs or so. But this is one of them, and I'm pretty surprised and stoked on it. This is FL Duoth, which is a Tolkien word, but that isn't really, this isn't Tolkien themed at all. I have talked about this band a couple times on my channel. I'm a really big fan of their most recent 2 releases, and that's all that I've heard, honestly. But those are very proggy and have this super interesting sort of serpentine guitar work going on. It's super technical and proggy. But this is the first album from back in 1999, maybe 2000. And this came out on Code 666, which is a label, I guess they must have gone away or they aren't releasing good stuff anymore. Anyways, that's beside the point. This band and this album in particular sounds a lot like that Emperor era between Nine Equilibrium and Prometheus, in that it's like super symphonic and progressive and technical, but it's done with a drum machine, but pretty tastefully done. It also kind of reminds me of like that era of Arcturus between like Sham Mirrors and La Masquerade. So I mean, it's a really interesting kind of record. It's super symphonic, and if you're familiar with the later era FL Duoth material, it's pretty different than that stuff. But so being that I've now owned like both bookends of the band's discography, I am just all in. I'm gonna get all their stuff. This was a lot more brilliant than I was expecting it to be. The artwork in here is just terrible, boring design. I think this was in like a cutout bin for $4 or $2 or something like that. But guys like Matt Jones, I know like you and me have a lot in common with this kind of stuff. You're gonna love this, dude. Or you know, if any of that stuff I said sounds good. I hope the level here is all right. It's kind of hard being so close to this compared to where we usually are and the distance and whatnot, but I don't know, it'll probably work out. Also got this in the mail. This is Demonic, the Empire of Agony. Necropolis Records put this out back in, guess what year? 97. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the guy's name, but one of my frequent commenters and subscribers has been suggesting this release to me, as well as the Lead Us Into Darkness EP, which I also used to have back in 97 and got rid of or something like that. So this is a Norwegian black metal band, but I wouldn't say they sound really anything like Darkthrone like you might think, or maybe I guess more in the kind of Gorgoroth direction. They're kind of aggressive and kind of sinister, especially on this one. The Lead Us Into Darkness EP, if I remember, it's been fucking 15 years since I listened to it, is a lot more riffy and kind of atmospheric, I guess. There probably are some keyboards, I guess, on that EP, I think, but it's a little bit more sparse and atmospheric, right? Where this is a lot more like aggressive, kind of going for the throat kind of stuff. So I've listened to it maybe 1 or 2 times since I bought it. Just kind of lucked out and found a good price on it, and since I'm kind of the Necropolis completionist, I jumped on it. It's pretty decent. It's kind of long. It's got 11 11? No, this is 9 tracks on it, but it is kind of a long thing to get through. I don't know, let's get back to the Chicago pile maybe. Also picked up this Nuclear Death, Carrion for the Worm. I've kind of always meant to get around to picking up some Nuclear Death. I guess I had kind of always supposed that I would pick up Bride of the Insect, the debut. But I found this for pretty cheap too. And this is a Dark Symphonies or the Crypt reissue version of their second album, Carrion for the Worm. And it also has 2 bonus demos on it. One being a Symphony of Agony, which is just live stuff. It sounds like a couple of teenagers just beating the shit out of their instruments at a skate park. And it's alright. But the Vultures Feeding demo at the end of this, I wish there were a Nuclear Death album that sounded as good as this Vultures Feeding demo. It's killer, but it's really short. And Lori Bravo, in the notes of this, she complains emphatically about how pissed off they were about how good that demo sounded. So it's kind of funny. The Carrion for the Worm album, though, I'm not sure if I had ever heard it or really given it like my full attention until I owned this, but it kind of reminds me of like Repulsion, where they're kind of approaching grindcore from like a punk perspective in a way. This is really, really early stuff too. I want to say this came out in 87, maybe 88. So for that time period, it's absolutely way more furious than a lot of bands at that time were being or playing. You know, so it's lined up there with like Repulsion and Carcass, maybe kind of that Bolt Thrower early era, but it's super just noisy and caustic and just it's pretty hard to consume, honestly. But their style and their riffing was just always so kind of atonal, dissonant, and disharmonic, and just it. Honestly, I'd say it's for the advanced listener to be able to enjoy and appreciate something so primal and noisy, but also for how forward-thinking, I guess, it is in how unmusical it is in a way. And just like untrendy it is for the time. They were just fucking blowing out their brains on their instruments, honestly. Let's see. What else did I get in Chicago? So this is really fun. This was $1 in the Reckless Records cutout bin. I'll take it out of the sleeve for you. This is Garden of Shadows with Oracle Moon. So this came out on Wicked World back in 2000, I'm gonna guess. And I had forgotten about this, and I don't know why, but I put this on my Discogs wish list at some point. So I decided to pick it up, and it is fucking good. It's definitely that kind of late 90s mellow death kind of stuff. And a lot of that stuff I'm really touch and go with. If it's got any hint of the fucking tough guy kind of hardcore influence, I'm out. I really want it to sound Swedish and hyper melodic rather than fucking chunky and breakdowny and that kind of stuff. This kind of does have that, but there's a nice balance and tastefully done element of keyboards to it. It's really musical, honestly. There's just really nothing. There's not a lot of the elements that I hate about that kind of style in this. This is just really, really tastefully done. And I was surprised to see how well reviewed it was for something that I thought I hadn't heard of. Maybe I just kind of saw it on somebody's list or some point, or somebody just kind of mentioned it in passing. I'll do that. Like, I'll be texting my buddies about music and whatnot and records, and I'll just like throw some shit onto my wish list real quick, or if I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see something that looks interesting, I'll screenshot it, and then I'll, like, maybe once a month or something, I'll go through my screenshots and I'll look these albums up and either add them to my wish list or just like listen to them on YouTube or something and just kind of find new stuff that way. Also in Chicago, picked up the new Guardguster. Sure, a lot of you guys are hearing about this from other channels. Album of the year, a lot of guys are saying and whatnot. Slit Throat Requiem. I believe Profound Lore put this out maybe about a month or two ago, and people are just eating this shit up. It is really, really killer. It's honestly, I would say, what the things that I would have changed about As Was the Seth or Beck of Nexamu, aside from the fact that they've been releasing basically the same fucking thing since 3 or 4 years ago, the corrections that I would have made to that kind of material are present on here. I feel like this is what I wish Sparta Douthus would focus on more. So I'm looking forward to a follow-up on this, but this is super good. I haven't really listened to it enough to really determine if I feel like this is as memorable as I want it to be. Stylistically, though, it's fucking haunting, dark as fuck black metal. It's like, it's exactly what I wanted to hear them do, but are the riffs standing out enough to, like, you know, be consumable and re-listenable? That remains to be seen. For me personally, I just kind of I'm kind of touch and go again with like that Sparta Douthus project. I think he's way more hype than, I know that's so stupid, but oh, that's so good. Yeah, I just feel like that shit is kind of overhyped, but good, mind you. Also in Chicago, do I have any more Chicago file? Yeah, one more. I don't know, I didn't really like this all that much, but this is Prophetus, As All Seasons Die. Just another cutout thing I thought I would pick up. Honestly, it's not as good as I thought it was going to be. Weird Truth put this out in 2014. This is a Finnish doom band, very funeral doom. It kind of has some, I don't know, you know, I listened to it maybe half of it or so, and I just kind of thought it was boring. Maybe I wasn't really in the mood. I have been really cranking the like summertime death metal kind of stuff where you roll your windows down and just blast it loud. I played Morbid Angel's Covenant on the way up to Chicago. And it's been the first time I listened to that record in maybe 5 or 6 years, and God, that album just fucking blew me away. And I honestly, I have very specific memories about blasting that record in the summer in my car as a 18-year-old back then, and I swear to God, I feel exactly the same, just fucking chills down my spine for how goddamn brutal and reckless it is. It's so fucking good. Morbid Angel's Covenant is just one of the most perfect death metal albums that's ever been written. And I have it up there, but I mean, you know what it is. Some other late pickups. Let's see. I got this recently. I went down to my local record store just to see what they had, and I thought they didn't have anything. I took one last look on my way out the door at the CD section, and I saw Worship, Doom. Now, you know, just seeing this doesn't really grab my attention at all. I pulled it out and looked at it, and I was like, this looks really boring. That can't be the Worship that I'm thinking of. But I grabbed my phone, I looked at it, and sure enough, this is the last vinyl before Doomsday, Worship. They're from Finland, I believe. They're probably one of, like, I think the most respected funeral doom bands. So, and they had the disc behind the counter, so I wasn't like sure that this was the Worship, because it just looks so cheesy and not like any of their other releases. But looked it up, and sure enough, it was a well-reviewed Worship record. And come to find out, it's kind of rare and expensive. So yeah, I got it for $5. It is really fucking good. It sounds a lot like Skepticism to me. I've spun it maybe 1 or 2 times. The first track is super challenging, and I wouldn't say it was a good choice to start the record off with that, but this band has always been kind of sticking their nose at the norms, thumbing their nose at the norms. Yeah, the first track is kind of experimental, I guess I would say, and it's kind of like, it was a turnoff, but the record sounds brilliant. It is super mournful, and it sounds a lot like Mournful Congregation, for that matter. I thought at first it was a double disc because there's like a book 1 and book 2, but it's just a super long, drawn out, beautiful, well-produced funeral doom record by Worship. Good stuff, and stoked to have a valuable collectible. Alright, so 2 videos ago or so, I played a French clown black metal band called Pensées Nocturnes. And it was, I think, their 2012 album or so that I played, Nom de Pipe. And they've done, I think they did one other album after that I would like to get a copy of. And then they have this new record that I said in that video I had been listening to. Finally decided to pick up a copy of it. Matt Jones, again, if you're watching, I know you are, you're always watching. Amazon has the cheapest deal on this new Conseils Nocturnes. $16 or so, I would say. I paid for it. I think Prime, so it's free shipping anyways. But this is so fucking disregarded of the boundaries of black metal, the expectations of the genre. Like, if you thought Jimmy Borger back in 98 or so were like stepping outside of the bounds by adding way too much keyboards and being like circusy kind of sounding or whatnot, this is so fucking forward thinking and just experimental. I'm so blown away by how innovative this record in particular is, man. It's such a fun thing to listen to, and again, I would be surprised if any of you guys can even handle stomaching this record, but I am just fucking bonkers for this fucking thing. This might be my favorite black metal record of the year so far. Am I wrong? This might have come out last year, kind of late or whatnot, but anyways, you get the gist just by looking at this fucking thing. It's totally fucking P.T. Barnum black metal, but it's real tongue-in-cheek. Look at this lineup picture. It's got the Bearded Woman, the Strongest Man, and these are the band members playing on it. It's, you know, it's super fun to hear like a different style of music that contrasts so much with black metal just being smacked together and smeared in. But the transition from their orchestral kind of stuff or their like vaudevillian circus kind of music into black metal that sometimes references like DSPM kind of stuff and sounds like kind of mournful, but not only that, but like they're playing at probably 250 BPM sometimes. They are fucking fast, blazing black metal parts. But it's just fucking mind-boggling how challenging and just blowing the fucking roof off of the genre, man. I think this is super fun. And like, I'm really interested in bands who are just disregarding the expectations and they're not afraid to step outside of the fucking orthodox expectations and path that so many other black metal bands are just beating that dead horse with. If you're looking for something interesting, this is fucking it. It is, man, I'm just so thrilled to listening to it. Alright, so a few things that I have played on the road trip up to Chicago or lately. Wait, got a couple more pickups. Wound up picking up both albums from Sebat, UK, not Japan. I picked up Skyclad's debut, History of Time to Come. No, that's this one. Wayward Sons of Mother Earth. A couple of months ago. Love it. Fucking rules. But so what the story goes, is it Martin Valkyrie, I think? Left Skyclad and formed Sebat. Am I doing that right? No. See, like, I look this stuff up before I do my videos, and then I get in front of the camera, I hit record, and it fucking all goes out the window. So, don't take my word for that. Either way, so this one came out in, I want to say like 90, and then, no, 90, 91. This is the debut from Sebat UK, A History of Time to Come. I don't really like this one as much. To me, it kind of sounds a lot like that era of thrash. It kind of sounds like Metallica, Megadeth, production-wise. It's pretty basic speed metal, thrash metal kind of stuff. I don't feel like they found their footing or their style until Dreamweaver came out. And this fucking ripper is so good. I had a lot of fun listening to this lately. And dude, Valkyrie is such a good frontman. I really am loving this. I'm surprised I haven't picked this up sooner. Yeah, Dreamweaver, Sebat. So, okay, that's it for my recent pickups. What I listened to on the way to Chicago. Horizonless by Lost. You know, a recent favorite. Just a beautifully done Funeral Doom record. It's, you know, there's a lot of Funeral Doom bands that just fucking dwell in that slow, mid-paced, just churning guitars constantly. And a lot of Funeral Doom records can just kind of drag on, I think. But these guys do so much to just bring that atmosphere outside of just the metal style, and they add a lot of instrumentation and kind of atmospheric kind of variety and diversity to their albums. It just, but they do it in such a way that mood, that just like wrist-cutting mood that they establish with the metal, just carries on so seamlessly with everything else they're doing. It's just such a morose and macabre kind of self-hating, loathing kind of mood to it. It's a beautiful goddamn record. I also, the other day I went mushroom hunting. By the way, mushroom hunting season is in full effect here, and we spent a lot of my time doing that. But I listened to Autumno, Across the Horizon 3 times in a row, I want to say. I forgot how fucking amazing this is. Cyanide Syndicate put this out? I'm not familiar with that label. It looks like it, yeah, it's an imprint of Vic Records. Vic Records is doing great fucking work these days. But this record originally was released, I'm gonna guess like 93 or so. It's so fucking good. Okay, the music is brilliant. Swedish death metal for its time period. It's, you know, I wouldn't say it's, okay, 92 is when it was recorded, so 93 is probably right around there. It doesn't stand head and shoulders above that time period, but vocally, I hadn't really noticed how much I am impressed by the vocalists on this album until I played it the other day. The music is just fucking churning, perfect. The drumming is just fucking so good. But yeah, the vocals is something that just stood out to me the other day for some reason. I wound up just like, I couldn't stop listening to it for a long, long time. Speaking of amazing vocalists, I revisited this Utratum Necro Vortex recently, and I had this in my car for probably 5 days straight last week, and I listened to it every second I had a chance. It's so fucking satisfying. I'm way more impressed, I think, on the second time around, like digging into it and just listening to it constantly for a while than I was when I first got it. This is just, it revisits Entombed's Left Hand Path a lot, but brings it enough of its own style and personality to the table, I think. But Entombed, their vocal department was like, alright, LG Petrov was probably a fun frontman or whatnot, but I didn't think that Entombed was really lacking in vocals until I heard how much better it could be done. This dude fucking wails. This is just such a pummeling fucking record. I honestly am struggling, like, putting into words how blown away I am by this fucking thing. If I probably would have heard it last year and done a year-end list, this might have been up in the top 5 or 3 even, maybe. This is so fucking phenomenal. Also been spinning lately, this one, Embryonal, The Devil Inside. Again, not that really highly original or anything. They're not really bringing much to the table, but they do it just exactly right. They're this, I guess I would say, like some kind of early Cryptopsy kind of style similarities, maybe some kind of Cataclysm kind of stuff. They're from Poland, so they kind of do that hyperblasty kind of stuff like some of those Quebecois bands do, or like some maybe New York death metal bands. But it sounds also distinctly European in a way. I really can't put my finger on how. It also, I'm kind of sounding like I'm blending all death metal together, but it also, and sometimes, reminds me of some South American kind of stuff. But it's super well produced. I really love how tastefully done the recording is on it. The drummer fucking smokes. I really like his ingenuity in style. It's not just blasting all the time. It's got a lot of diversity and range to it. Songs are super well written, and there's slow parts to it. There's kind of breakdown parts to it. There's enough that makes it like it doesn't sound like you're listening to the same song over and over and over and over again. They also have a new album called The Evil Dead, but this is The Devil Inside from, I don't know, I'm gonna guess like 2010 or somewhere around there. Hand numbered, and Old Temple Records put this out. Old Temple puts out some good stuff. I'm starting to take notice. I want to say they also put out that Pathogen records that I've been talking about lately. So that's it. Sorry if this video sucks, but that's all I've got at this moment. And I've got to work on putting this room back together and paying off the credit card from shelling out for a dehumidifier. Maybe some new carpet, a rug or whatnot or something, but we'll get back into the collection and stuff. I'm not going to leave anytime soon, but I hope you're doing all well. Let me know what you've been jamming lately, and we'll see you next time.